Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down the big questions, the ones that really matter.
All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're tackling a massive question for every young Indian out there. Is that college degree still the golden ticket in 2026, or is it just a four-year waste of time? We're going to look at the money, the real-world results, and hopefully help you figure out what makes sense for you. And speaking of money, let's start right there.
Okay, let's start with the money, because let's be real, it's a huge factor in this whole decision, right? For most of us, this is one of the biggest financial calls we'll make in our lives.
So let's just take a really common example, right? A four-year engineering degree. You're looking at tuition fees around, say, 2.5 lakh rupees a year. Do the math, and that adds up to a cool 10 lakhs right off the bat.
But wait, we're not done yet. That's just tuition. If you're not living at home, you've got to add in hostel costs, food, getting around, and that can easily pile on another 5 lakh rupees over those 4 years. So all in all, you're looking at a total investment of about 15 lakh rupees. Wow, that is some serious cash. And that begs the big question, right? What do you get back for all that?
Okay, so what's the typical return right after you toss that graduation cap in the air? Well, on average, the starting salary for a grad from a program like this is around 5 lakh rupees a year. Now, you put that next to the 15 lakh you invested and yeah, you can see it's going to take a while to just break even. And hey, we haven't even talked about the opportunity cost. That's the money you could have been earning for 4 years while you were in class.
But, that 5 lakh number, it's just an average. The reality is a little more complicated. Check this out. The data shows that about half of graduates land a job right in that 5 lakh range. But then, a whole quarter of them, 25%, do way better, landing packages between 10 and 15 lakhs. And what about the last 25%? Well, they're off doing other things, maybe more studies or jumping into the family business.
Okay, but this whole debate, it's about so much more than just money. We're talking about how you spend your absolute premium years, from 18 to 22, when you've got all this energy and potential. So where do you put that energy? Into the college ecosystem? Or do you get right out there and start hustling in the real world?
So let's really break it down. Let's put these two philosophies head to head. In one corner, you've got the structured, kind of protected world of college. And in the other corner, you've got the jump in the deep end, sink or swim, skills-first approach. So the pro-degree argument goes something like this. College is like a controlled laboratory. It's probably the safest place on earth to fail, right? You can organize some huge event, and if it totally flops, well, you learn a massive lesson, but you don't get fired. It's all about building those crucial soft skills, leadership, communication, in a place where the stakes aren't sky high.
But then you flip the coin. People on the skills-first side will tell you that nothing teaches you to adapt and be resilient like facing real, actual consequences. We're talking about skipping the traditional route and jumping straight into things like coding boot camps, getting online certifications, or just starting to freelance. It's learning how to write an email that someone actually replies to. It's about learning to survive when there's no safety net. And that builds a kind of street smarts, a hustle that you just can't learn in a classroom.
And that, of course, brings us to one of the most controversial, most heated parts of this whole debate, the glorification of the college dropout. Is it a genius move or a really dangerous idea?
Yeah, think about it. One argument is that it's super easy for some mega successful founder to say you don't need a degree from their mansion. But for a 17-year-old in a small town with no safety net, no rich uncle, that advice could be absolutely disastrous. That kid is taking a massive risk, a risk that maybe the founder themselves never really had to face when they were just starting out.
But then, the counterpoint is just as strong. In an economy where a degree is absolutely no guarantee of a job, isn't the real security learning how to survive and make a living on your own? From this point of view, knowing how to hustle, how to earn, that is the only job security that matters.
And if you want to see the truly transformative power of a degree, you just have to look at a story like Kanika Mittal's. Here's a girl from a small town, Sawai Madhopur. For her, college wasn't just about classes. It was a gateway to a whole new world. She pursues an engineering degree, and what happens? She lands an incredible 51 lakh package at Microsoft. But here's the real kicker. In doing that, she became a role model, inspiring hundreds of other girls in her town to dream bigger and pursue education. Now, that is an impact that you can't measure on a payslip.
Okay, let's get super practical for a minute. Because honestly, for some careers, this isn't even a debate. For certain jobs, a degree isn't just a nice to have, it's a flat-out requirement.
I mean, seriously, would you want a doctor operating on you who learned everything from YouTube videos? Of course not. So if you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, a civil engineer who builds bridges, or even get into certain specialized roles in hotel management, a formal, accredited degree is absolutely non-negotiable. It's about standards, it's about safety, it's about public trust.
But then, you've got this whole other world of booming, new-age industries. We're talking about digital marketing, content creation, editing, coding, data analysis. In these fields, what you can do often screams way louder than what your degree says. If your portfolio is amazing, if you can show you can get the job done, a lot of companies frankly don't care that much where you went to college.
Okay, so we've talked about the money, we've explored the two different philosophies, and we've looked at the hard realities of different career tracks. So after all that, how on earth are you supposed to figure out what's the right choice?
Well, here's the thing. The final answer, it isn't about which path is better. It's not something you can just calculate on a spreadsheet. At the end of the day, it all boils down to one word: conviction. That unwavering belief in the path you're about to walk. So before you make your move, here's a little personal checklist for you. 3 questions to ask yourself, and be honest. Number 1, clarity. Do you have a crystal clear goal? Do you know exactly what you're aiming for? Number 2, conviction. Do you truly, deep down, believe this is the right way to get there? And number 3, backup. What's your safety net? What's your plan B if it all goes sideways? The answers to those questions, that's what's going to point you in the right direction.
Because here's the bottom line, there is no single right answer. There's no magic formula for success. The future is going to be built on degrees and on skills, and maybe on both. The real question isn't which path is better. The real question is, which path will you choose to build your future? That choice is yours.